welcome to Diana's Diary Room. Well, Willie Hantz, Revenge of the Family Name today. Wow! Alright, let's go over quickly everything that happened right before today's big events. Yesterday was Thursday, and we had lots of game talk. Ashley flipped her vote back over to her team. One, because Frank had let her in on some things Willie had said about her. Two, her team guarded her, like, you know, not letting her out of their sight. Three, she had an hour-long DR session. By the time she was done, she kind of knew that it would be a mistake for her to go against her team. She votes to evict Kara. It's a vote of 5-3. Frank is saved. Frank wins HOH. Willie suddenly goes from king of the HOH, sitting on his throne, controlling everyone, to out in the backyard with Shane and JoJo talking about how they're real people and everybody else in the house is bullies. They're having a good-sized pity party at this point in the backyard. Everybody else is inside having a grand old time. And Britney's not sitting with her team outside. She's inside trying to ingratiate herself with everybody else. Get up this morning. Remember that Julie Chen said there was a coaches competition, and in the competition, the coach who won would get to make a trade. Now, the coaches were really scared that Britney would win and trade Willie off to one of them and take one of their good players. Britney was all about Britney. Before the live show on Thursday, she had chewed Willie out big time and tried to correct Willie because she could see her game was going downhill. Now she's lost, her team has lost HOH, and she knows they're the #1 targets in the house. So she kind of says to Boogie and Dan, well, I don't see why I should have to lose someone this week. And they're like, well, because your team went after our team. Yeah, you're going to lose someone. Anyhow, Britney's all about Britney. She's mad at Willie for screwing up her game. She takes no responsibility for being the person who sent Willie down this spiral of events. Now, I don't blame Britney for everything that happened, but I do say that Britney lit the fuse and fanned the flames that got Willie so crazy, and once he started down that spiral, everything he did only made it worse. She told him the night before the house meeting that the coaches were coming into the game and that Janelle was plotting against them so that she could get into the game, and that the coaches were planning their own game over here so that they could beat them all and cheat them out of the $500,000. This sent Willie over the edge. He wanted a house meeting. He told everybody, and then after the house meeting, the people in it didn't react very well to it, and they turned on him. Then there was the fight, the Fruit Loops fight, and then they all turned and voted the way to save Frank. Now there's a new alliance called the Diversity Alliance, and that is Team Boogie and Team Janelle working together. Dan is down to 1 player. So, coaches competition today. Brittany's kind of like, if I win, I'm going to, you know, swap, and they're all afraid. But the coaches get together and say, if one of us wins and we can put her team on slop, we're going to. So they all agree to it. Janelle wins the coaches competition. She makes Ashley immune from being nominated, which kind of brings Ashley in closer to her and says, you know, you're not being ignored, because Ashley's got her own game going. We'll get to that in a second. And she puts Willie, Shane, and JoJo on slop. Ian from Boogie's team volunteers to be on slop a 2nd week in a row. And God love Ian. He is just one of the best people in that house. All right. They come back from trivia from the coaches competition, and Willie is storming around, acting a fool. I'm going to get myself evicted. He's having words with Britney in the kitchen. Now, Britney again lights the fuse. He's already storming around. Instead of bringing him down, she says, you're taking us down with you. And then she says, he's threatening to get himself evicted. She says, why don't you just go upstairs then? Sending him to the HOH. And he goes, you think I'm afraid, Britney? You think I'm afraid? And he storms upstairs to the HOH.
I think it's still in PLD.
It don't matter. I'm getting evicted.
No, you're not. You're putting other people in jeopardy, and I'd appreciate it if you stop. I'm serious. Just stop.
I'm not. I'm getting it off of them. It's my fault anyway. So I'll go home.
What's today?
There's some
Friday. Friday? Okay. So why don't you just relax for a few days?
Mm-mm.
Plenty of time.
Mike, please move your microphone higher.
You want everybody to go down with you.
They're already going down with me.
That's what's annoying. Well, quit dragging us further. If you want to act like that, go upstairs and act like that. So then don't do anything.
I'm not. I'm doing it to them. That's what I'm waiting for to come down here.
Go
You think I'm
upstairs
scared?
then.
You think I'm
Well,
scared?
leave us alone.
You think I'm scared, please?
Am I supposed to respond to this, JoJo?
I'm just ignoring it. I'm not. I can't.
This is so stupid. Like, you're acting like you're 4.
Britney, my point is they're blaming them for something I did. It makes no sense, and I'm about to square that up right now.
No, it's not. It's putting the target bigot on your back. Because now it looks more like you're with y'all are together.
Willie doesn't know how to play this game because if he had bothered to wait until the nominations were done instead of 30 minutes after being put on slop, his team would be safer. But instead he does his whole white knight, I'm going to get myself evicted routine. And now both members of his team are sitting on the block and he's gone and they're going home.
Willie, if you do this, I can't be, like, associated with you if you're going to be, like...
Well, I understand. I'm going to
if
get
you're
in a
going
fight
to
in
be
this house. I'm
pulling
going to
an
knock somebody
evil...
out.
If you're going to be
That's
pulling
what I'm
an
gonna
evil...
do.
We come back from feeds and there's no Willie. What'd Willie do? All right, so thank you to Ian for rehashing it for all the live feeders. Ian explains that he called the house a bunch of, I'm not going to use the word, the C word that ends with T and has 2 letters in between. And then he's storming around, he keeps storming around, and they're in the bathroom. Joe's back there, Ian's back there. He comes into the bathroom, he headbutts Joe. First he calls him a wussy or a pussy, I'm not sure which one. Headbutts him, chest bumps him, headbutts him again, shoulder bumps him several times. The DR or production comes over and says, Willie, get to the DR. Joe, stay in the bathroom. And Willie starts heading to the DR down the hallway, and he says, follow me, Joe, and because he's trying to egg Joe into a fight too. As he passes Janelle, he grabs a bunch of pork rinds, throws them at her, calls her some foul names. She fights back, not physically, but she says, and he kicked some doors, did some other things, but he gets called to the DR. Several hours go by. Then Allison Grodner comes over the PA system to let the house know that Willie has been disqualified from Big Brother, and the game will go on as usual. Frank gets to go ahead and nominate 2 people. Frank nominates JoJo and Shane from Britney's team. Now, when the feeds finally come back up, Frank is just losing it upstairs. He's mad. It turns out that after Willie was disqualified from the game, Frank had to go into nominations fairly quickly thereafter. And Frank got the bright idea to ask Ian if it would be okay with Ian if he put Ian on the block so that they could backdoor Shane. Well, naturally, Ian and Jen were not exactly thrilled with their own team member wanting to put them on the block. No, I don't want to be on the block from my own team member. Thank you very much. Especially when there are at least 3 targets that can be had. Why do you need it? Frank's thinking is that you could reel in Janelle's team tighter. And Frank is all mad at Ian. And he says he wants to be some kind of super fan, but he's just like Adam Pock. And he thinks his team isn't going to back him up. Now, Boogie is sitting there very casually trying to get Ian Frank to understand that today was a good day, a really, really good day. And Boogie does a great job of talking Frank off the ledge, which is something Britney never bothered to do for Willie. Willie thought he would get himself disqualified so that JoJo and Shane would not be nominated. He thought by throwing himself on the sword, they would be saved. Unfortunately, he didn't wait for Frank to make nominations. And a lot of feeders are like, I think he just didn't want to be on slop. He was mad that he had to go on slop and sleep in the have-not room, and he couldn't even take 30 minutes of it before he lost his cool. whatever reason, he lost it. He went too far, and the fastest, hardest played first 14 days of Big Brother are now over. I'm going to sleep again. Now let's talk about Ashley for a minute. Ashley, until Willie did this, Willie screwed up Ashley's game today. Willie managed to screw up the strategy of several players today by his antics. Ashley's game was to play both sides of the house. She'd go to Team Britney and say, they're bullying me, and she'd do the sad, dopey eyes, and you know, I like Willie, and I just feel so bad because Janelle doesn't really like me, and, you know, this really sad, and then she'd shuffle, because the girl can't physically move her body for some reason. And then she'd go to Janelle's team and say, well, Willie was pressuring me, and I just don't understand why he was doing that. Same routine to Janelle's team. And it was a really great thing for Ashley that the entire house was divided because she could play both of them. Well, by Willie getting himself disqualified today, she can't do it anymore. And by Janelle giving her immunity, it also took away Team Britney's ability to say, she hates you, Ashley. You're not her number one, Ashley. You're least on her totem pole. So Janelle took advice from Frank. Frank said, give it to Ashley. Give the immunity to Ashley because that will bring her closer to you. So Janelle gives her immunity. She can't play both sides of the house any longer because of Willie's antics. He's gone. There's just nothing left. She has to stick with Janelle for right now. So Willie really screwed a lot of people's games up. Shane, JoJo, Ashley, done. Britney, done. It's just a matter of time before Team Britney is done. Now, I'm not saying it's a for sure thing, because I don't think the Boogie Janelle alliance will last that long because they're already getting nervous. I mean, they haven't been in power more than 24 hours, and they're nervous. Big Brother brought in pizza for the house guests after the day's events because they played a competition. Somebody got, you know, chest bumped, head bumped, big fights. And there were nominations all in one day. And somebody tweeted, I can't remember the person right now, but they tweeted, this is what I call please don't sue us pizza. And that's very true because Big Brother heard him threaten to physically hurt people more than once and for 2 days in a row. It turned out in the bathroom before the live show happened on Thursday, he was threatening Frank and was basically saying he was going to punch Frank in the face. So there were a couple of days where Willie was threatening physical violence and Big Brother didn't pull him out until he actually did physical violence. And basically, the person who got hit, Joe, could say, hey, you knew he was a ticking time bomb. Joe says, yeah, I was expecting it. It's no big deal. I bet you Joe gets a bigger paycheck. Anyhow, let's see, what else? Ian, absolutely adorable. Love that kid. He may be awkward, but the kid knows his stuff. He knows it. And when Frank is kind of losing it and stuff, Ian is the one that always says strategically the better move. He's not dumb. He's really just adorable. I love that kid. Shane and JoJo are trying to reach out to the rest of the house now. At one point in the hot tub this evening, they said to Joe and Jen, well, what would you have done in our shoes? We stayed with the guy that we were loyal to. And Jen looked at him and goes, I would have done something different. Because JoJo and Shane, after the HOH had been lost, sat outside with Willie and pouted for hours. And they didn't go, okay, time to work our game. No, they sat outside and said, we're real people. We're the better people. We're the good people. And they screwed themselves because Willie, their buddy, went off today, and now they're the ones in the firing line. All right, I think I've covered everything for today. It was a crazy day of events. I will talk to you soon. Bye.